you'll be covering the 7 correlates here. And you'll find them on the website. Once again, I'll remind you, you go to the science and you go to introduction. And there's actually more content on each of the 7 habits, but the introductory page just zips through the 7 correlates. So now we have a little time for questions. We have actually quite a few questions now. Let's have a look at this. Deb, thanks for including some websites that talk about strengths as well as PERMA, authentic happiness. The name of the photographer, let me just see if I can unmute you here. Oh, Deb, you there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you wanted to know who the photographer was for which photo?
She emailed it to us, Louis Schwartzberg. It was the video that Allison was talking about.
Allison, yes.
Already, yeah, she got it on there, Schwartzberg.
Okay, that's great. You know what? I haven't seen it yet, so I want to see it too.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Let me see now. Janice says, reflective upon action, not really thinking or feeling while in flow. Let's see now if we can get Janice online here. For some reason I can't find my list of participants right now, but I'm getting there.
Can you unmute everybody?
Well, I'm trying to find the window where I can unmute everybody, and that seems to have disappeared. Let's see now, chat. Sometimes happens with GoToWebinar is we lose one of the windows.
Mark, you're trying to unmute everybody? I can do it manually.
Could you do that? Thank you. All right.
All right, so Alice is unmuted.
You have to leave pretty soon, I guess, don't you?
Yeah, just a minute, but it's okay.
Janice, if you could unmute Janice, she has a question.
Janice is unmuted, and Severin
okay, that's great.
is unmuted. Sherry?
Janice, are you there? Yep.
Yeah. When I wrote the reflective upon action, that's when we were doing the transition between you and Allison, and there was a small discussion about positive mindset or positive thinking, but I think it's a bit of both, and both Seligman and however you say his 16-letter last name.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I can't do it either.
Yeah, they both say that it's reflective upon action. So you're not really thinking about it until after it happens if you're in flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Focused on it. So I guess when you're looking ahead, that would be the cognitive part of it. But when you're looking at the gratitude or the present, it's not really a thinking or a feeling, just a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're involved in flow, you don't even think about when you're happy or not. And of course, that's a reminder that if we think too much about our happiness, it's not the best way to be happy.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting comment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you mentioned citation available for research on spiritual independent of social component.
I did. On the last part you were talking about on the spiritual and engagement, I'm not real sure. Like in my context, I work with businesses. So we don't really get into the spiritual side of things. It's rather sectarian or humanistic maybe. But we don't go into any spiritual side, no religion or set philosophy, just a business culture.
Right.
I was wondering if I could look more into that. If you had a citation for that research, I might be able to see how it could apply.
I have a huge book in my bookcase in front of me, and it's by it's by Harold Koenig, Koenig, Harold Koenig, and it's about 1,000 pages long. It's about religion and well-being. During the course of the while we're involved in the course, maybe we can point you to a lot more stuff about that.
Well, I was going to say,
yes.
One person that would be good to look at actually is Todd Kashdan. He does a tremendous amount of work on purpose, specifically life purpose, which overlaps a lot. When we say spiritual engagement and meaning, the meaning part doesn't necessarily have to be religious in nature. It can be purpose and meaning, which can very much apply in a business context. I actually do work with organizations on with their employees about developing purpose. So Todd Kashdan, who is actually he's a supporter of our work, so he's actually listed on our website. He has a lot of, if you Google his name and purpose, a lot of journal articles and research should come up. And if you don't find what you need there, we also we have some other citations that I know we put together for our China project that are non-religious in nature and specific to purpose.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of Todd's friends and colleagues, Mike Steger, Steger, Michael Steger. He's the big name, with regards to meaning and happiness. And I think so. It's both Todd Kashdan and Mike Steger have produced some very interesting stuff. And Steger talks a little bit more about spiritual activities as well as meaning, and of course the Koenig who I mentioned. But I would definitely look at both if you wanted to explore that correlate. In the case of China, it's interesting. I mean, we're conducting an experimental curriculum in Beijing, and we can't even talk about Buddhism over there. So, we have to talk about meaning. It's similar to maybe a secular sort of context in a business, but certainly there's a lot of material about religion and well-being as well. So, thanks for the question.
Thanks for the enlightenment.
Mark, I have some articles I've been putting together for the course I'm going to teach this summer, and I think I have some examples of articles related to that topic that I can somehow put on my, when I'm writing my information for the course.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. That would be great. And I know that one of Todd's students is really interested in that kind of information. So yeah, if you
related to positive workplace and things like that, I have.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, then Ray will be interested in that too. But at any rate, yeah, that's anything you have in that area is very useful. It's a booming area. I would say that mindfulness, as well as meaning, they're both areas that are receiving an extraordinary amount of interest right now. And another new area is autonomy. Deb, you're probably aware of this, that's becoming a big focus of interest. The idea that people who feel they're in control of their lives tend to be happier.
I know there's a handbook of work and well-being. I have that somewhere. I'll have to look for it.
Oh, work and well-being? Yeah.
It's a handbook. It's.
I haven't read that. No. Okay.
Let's see. It's Work is Meaning. It's in the Oxford Handbook on Positive Psychology and Work.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
By Steger, Steger.
Right. The Michael Steger, who I mentioned. Yeah.
It's Work is Meaning. It's called. I have that citation.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for reminding me.
It's great.
And then we have a question from Cherise.
I actually
I'm
responded to
writing.
her question, Mark.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah, but I don't think
go
I
ahead.
responded to all. But I basically suggested that maybe I can't unmute Sherry's for some reason because she's on phone. But she was asking about the winning mindset versus the positive mindset, and my suggestion was perhaps that she could research the topic and present to us on it
Mhm.
for her presentation because I can't speak to it because I don't know anything about the winning mindset, but I'd be interested to learn more about that.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Charisse, would you like to say something? I think we've unmuted you.
I can't unmute her. She's still muted.
Oh, okay. I
It's
wish I
because
could do it.
she's on phone, and I don't know for some reason my